So today in this video we will be discussing about most frequently asked 50 plus C++ interview related questions. So let's start. What is the full form of OOPS? That is Object Oriented Programming System. What is a class? A class is a blueprint which reflects the entities, attributes, and actions. Technically defining, a class is designing the user-defined data type. What is an object? An object is an instance of a class. What are the types of inheritance supported in C++? Single, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, and hybrid. What is the role of protected access specifier? If a class member is protected, then it is accessible in its own class and in the inherited class also. What is encapsulation? The process of binding the data and the functions together is known as encapsulation. What is inheritance? Inheritance is the process of acquiring the properties of an existing class into the new class. The existing class is called as base class or a parent class, and the inherited class is called as derived class or the child class. What is abstraction? Abstraction refers to the hiding of internal implementation and showing only the necessary details to the user. Explain the purpose of the keyword volatile. Declaring a variable volatile directs the compiler that the variable can be changed externally, hence avoiding compiler optimization on the variable reference. What is an inline function? A function prefixed with the keyword inline before the function definition is called as inline function. The inline functions are faster in execution when compared to the normal functions, as the compiler treats inline functions as macros. What is a storage class? A storage class specifies the life or scope of symbols such as variables or functions. Mention the storage classes or class names in C++. So it is auto, static, extern, register, and mutable. What is the role of mutable storage class access specifier? Class object member variable can be altered by declaring it using mutable. It is applicable only for non-static and non-constant member variable of the class. Distinguish between shallow copy and deep copy. Shallow copy does memory dumping bit by bit from one object to another. Deep copy is copy field by field from object to another. Deep copy is achieved using copy constructor and or overloading assignment operator. What is a pure virtual function? Virtual function with no function body and assigned with a value 0 is called as pure virtual function. What is an abstract class in C++? Class with at least one pure virtual function is called as abstract class. We cannot instantiate the abstract class. It means we cannot create the object of a abstract class, and if we try to create, we will get an compiler error. Let's move on to the next question. What is a reference variable in C++? So the reference variable is an alias name or the existing variable or the same or the different name for the existing variable. It means both the variable name and the reference variable point to the same memory location. Therefore, updation on the original variable can be achieved using reference variable too. For example, we all have two names. One is our official name and another one is our pet name at our home. For example, my name is Sachin. Sachin is my official name and Sonu is my alias name or my pet name. If I ask Sachin to come here, automatically Sonu is here. If Sonu wears a dress, Sachin is also dressed like Sonu. It means Sachin and Sonu both are referring to the same person. Same is the case with reference variable in programming language. What is the role of static keyword? Static member variable shares a common memory across all the objects created for the respective class. A static member variable can be referred using the class name itself. Explain the static member function. Static member function can be invoked using the class name as it exits before class object come into existence. It can only access static members of the class. Can we initialize a class structure member variable as soon as the same is defined? The answer is no. Defining a class or a structure is just a type definition and it will not allocate any memory for the class, for the same or the class. What is the data type to store the Boolean value? It's bool, B-O-O-L. What is function overloading? Defining several functions with the same name with unique list of parameters is called as function overloading. What is operator overloading? Defining a new job for the existing operator with respect to the class objects is called as operator overloading. When a class member is defined outside the class, which operator can be used to associate the function definition to a particular class? The answer to this question is scope resolution operator. What is a destructor and can it be overloaded? A destructor is a special member function of the class whose name is same as the class name and it is prefixed with tilde sign. It gets executed automatically with respect to the object as soon as the object goes out of the scope. It cannot be overloaded and only single form, that is without the parameter, is sufficient to release all kind of memory. What is a constructor? A constructor is a special member function of a class which is having the same name as that of a class and gets executed automatically at the time of object creation. It does not have a return type, not even void. What is a default constructor, and can we provide one default constructor for our class? Every class does have a constructor provided by the compiler if the programmer does not provide any constructor. But if a programmer provides a constructor, then the programmer is assumed to have a good knowledge with writing a constructor concept, and therefore a default constructor needs to be created, and it is mandatory for the programmer to write it. Which operator can be used in C++ to allocate memory dynamically? Here the answer is new operator. In programming with C, we have seen calloc, malloc are the keywords. What is the purpose of delete operator? Delete operator is used to release the dynamic memory which was created using the new operator. What is a friend function? A function which is not a member of a class but still can access all the members of the class is called as friend function. To make it happen, we need to declare within the required class following the keyword friend. What is a copy constructor? A copy constructor is a constructor which takes the same class object reference as the parameter. It gets called automatically as soon as the object is initialized with another object of the same class as a parameter. Does C++ supports exception handling? Yes. If so, what are the keywords involved in achieving the same? Try, catch, and throw are the keywords used for the exception handling. What is the difference between the keyword struct and a class in C++? By default, the members of a struct are public, and by default, the members of a class are private. What is the scope resolution operator? It resolves the scope of a global variable. It associates the function definition to a class if the function is defined outside the class. What is a namespace? Namespace is the logical division of the code which can be used to resolve the name conflict of the identifiers by placing them under different namespace. What is class template? Template is a generic class. The keyword template can be used to define a class template. What is the meaning of base address of an array? The starting address of an array is called as base address. Can a program be compiled without the main function? The answer is yes. It can be compiled, but it cannot be executed because the execution requires main function definition. What is a container class? A class containing at least one member variable of another class type in it is called as container class. What is a token? The C++ program consists of, say, keywords or an identifier or a constant, string, literal, or a symbols are tokens. What is a preprocessor? The preprocessor is a directive to the compiler to perform certain things before the actual compilation process begins. What are the different ways of passing parameters to the functions? Call by value, call by address, and call by reference. Now, who designed C++ programming language? The answer is Bejan Stroustrup. Which operator can be used to determine the size of data type or a class or a variable or object in C++? The answer is size of operator. What is the default function call method? The default function call method is call by value. What are the exceptions? Exceptions and error are same? No, they are different. What is function overriding? Defining the functions within the base class and derived class with the same signature name where the base class function is virtual. Which function is used to move the stream pointer for the purpose of reading data from stream? The answer is seek_g function. Are class functions taken into consideration while calculating the size of an object? The answer is no. Only the class member variables are considered. Can we create an empty class? The answer is yes. Then the next question would definitely arise, then what would be the size of that empty class object? The answer is 1. What is the full form of STL? It is the Standard Template Library. What is cout? Cout is the object of OStream class. The stream is by default connected to the console output device. What is cin? It is the object of iStream class. By default, this is connected to the console input device. So in this video, we have tried to give you few important questions related to C++, most frequently asked interview questions. So in our further videos, we'll try to provide you more insights on these topics.